Hello and welcome. This is Angie with thecountrysheetcottage.net here today with another great Cricut video. So this video is sponsored by Cricut. However, all projects and opinions are my own. Last week I showed you the Wild Rose edition of the Cricut Explorer 2, available exclusively at Joann's. So you want to scroll back and you want to look at the project from last week. So it was custom letterboard accessories that you don't want to miss. Now, I wanted to do something kind of coordinating, so I did another project with the Wild Rose Explorer Air 2, and this time I made an organization shelf. So this can hang on your wall. So it's a shelf, and then it has individual boxes that store all of your craft supplies. So I've done one shelf with 4 boxes, but you could replicate this idea and have a whole wall of storage in your craft room. So if you want to make this project, let's get started. It includes a print and cut label for the front of your project that you don't want to miss. The supplies you'll need for this project are as follows. So I'm using the printable vinyl that's in the Cricut Explorer Air 2 bundle, the Wild Rose that's available at Joann's. I'm using some Natalie Malin patterned vinyl that is exclusive to Joann stores, and I'm going to use one of the patterns that I like, but there are several patterns to choose from. You'll need some white craft paint, and then I'm using this shelf, and then I'm using these little wood boxes. Now they actually come with a lid, but we're going to use the lid for like another project or something. We're going to set those aside, and when you take the lids off, 4 of these fit exactly inside the shelf. So we are going to paint everything first, then we'll cover with some of the patterned vinyl, and then we will actually use the print and cut feature and the printable vinyl to make some labels for our organizer. So I'm using a white chalk paint, which should cover in 1 coat, but it might need 2. So you want to paint 1 coat, allow it to dry completely, and then do another coat. And you'll want to paint all surfaces so you have a finished look, even the ones we're going to cover with vinyl. So the ones we're going to cover with vinyl, you could actually just do the edges if you wanted to. But on, like, say, the boxes, be sure to paint the inside as well as the outside. So the inside needs that finished look because we won't be adding anything to the inside of the boxes. Again, be sure to paint the inside as well as the outside of the boxes for a finished look, and all sides of the shelf. The only part of the shelf maybe that you can leave unpainted is the part that will be against the wall. Otherwise, you want to paint the entire thing. I'm giving all of my pieces a second coat because I feel like they need them. It's just going to depend on the paint you're using, how thick you do the first coat, how much your wood absorbs. So you just play it by ear and decide if your pieces need a second coat or not. If they do, just allow the first coat to dry and then put the second coat on top. And then you're going to need to let that dry completely before we continue and add our vinyl and printable vinyl labels. While your paint dries, you can go ahead and do your printable labels. So this is printable vinyl that comes actually in the Cricut Explorer Air 2 Wild Rose bundle, or you can purchase it separately. And I have got a file already set up with our printable labels, so let me show you how to do that and make custom labels. This is the file with the craft storage labels on it. So I have 4 of them already created for you, but if you want to make your own custom label, then you would just pick all 3 of these, duplicate, and now you have a label that you can customize. So what you need to do is first customize the text to read whatever you want. Now in my case, I used all capital letters. You could definitely use all lowercase if you wanted to. It's just completely up to you. So let's use all capitals again. And again, you can type whatever you want here, so whatever you need to organize in your craft room. Then we're going to move everything together. We're going to pick all 3 again, click Align, and click Center. That centers everything up. And now we'll make sure all 3 are picked, and click Flatten. This flattens the label, so it will cut around the outer edge and it will print both the word as well as the line around the outside to give it just a little accent. So now you can repeat that for as many labels as you would like, and then print, then cut onto printable vinyl for this project. So once you do that, you click Make It, and it prompts you to print it first. So it'll print and look something like this. So these are your labels, and then this box around the outside prints so that your Cricut machine knows where to cut for your labels. So then all you're going to do is take your mat, and we're going to stick the printable vinyl that you just printed down in one corner, and then you're going to feed it in when your machine tells you to. And what will happen is it will cut around each of your labels, no matter if you use the 4 I have here for examples or your own custom versions. I set my dial on my Cricut Explorer Air 2 to custom, and then I picked printable vinyl from the materials list. Now I'm just going to feed my material in and click the C to cut. Now you can watch it. There'll be a light, and it's actually trying to see this box that's around the outside. So that's for the print and cut feature, and it locates the cuts. So no matter if you get your printable vinyl off or at an angle, it'll still cut in the right area. And now it's cutting each of the labels with the fine point blade. And now once the cut's complete, I just hit the button to eject the mat. And my print and cut labels on printable vinyl are complete. So this is cut all the way around. And now I can just pick those up, and they're just like stickers that I can put on the front of my boxes once I'm ready for those. So now we have our printable labels, our boxes are drying, and we'll get everything ready to complete our project. So once your boxes are painted and the paint is completely dry, you can start adding the vinyl to the outside just to decorate them. So I'm going to use the Natalie Malin vinyl that's exclusive to Joann stores, and it's actually a patterned vinyl, so it's some really pretty floral patterns. And I'm going to do 2 boxes in one floral pattern and 2 boxes in a different floral, and just wrap the vinyl around the edges. So you can definitely cut this with scissors just to wrap around the outside, or a few tools that might be handy. There's a Cricut cutter, like a paper cutter, and it'll definitely cut your vinyl as well. And there's also the Cricut True Control knife that will work great on this, as well as the self-healing cutting mat. So what I like to do is see how wide it is, and if you leave some on the edges, it's fine, because remember we painted the entire thing white, so leaving some will be fine. And then we can actually mark where to cut. The Cricut vinyl also has the cut lines on the back, so you could actually cut this with scissors along the cut line. And then one piece of vinyl will go a little over halfway around, so you'll need to cut a second strip out of the same sheet to completely wrap your boxes. Then we can just peel and stick this and put it on our box. So we're just going to peel this lining back and start wrapping our box with it. You want to be sure to get everything nice and straight. And you can also use this scraper that came in the Wild Rose bundle to smooth everything down and make sure it's adhered well. Then we can cut a second strip, and we can actually cut it the same width as this first one. Then we'll peel and stick to complete the box. So I'm just going to wrap just this back side with the rest of this vinyl, and then I'll cut off the excess with a pair of scissors. Then we can flip it around to the front side, and we can add the labels that we made earlier. So these are our print and cut labels on our printable vinyl, and we'll just want to add that to the front. Then we can continue the same process for the other 3 boxes that are on our shelf, and then we can put our organizer together. So these are super easy to make. They're gorgeous when done, but super easy. And it's all possible with your Cricut Explorer 2, that printable vinyl that I showed you, that you can print and then cut out these great labels for the front. Now, you can use these labels for this project, but you could also use these same labels for other organization around your craft room or any room at all. So the print and cut labels, printable vinyl, your Cricut Explorer Air 2, and Wild Rose, and you have an organization dream come true. So head to the link in the description for this video to find the link to the file that you can do the print and cut on the labels. And I actually showed you how to do it within Cricut Design Space and change the labels to read whatever you want to. So you can make as many of these labels as you want and make them say whatever you want. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you could also, if you wanted to, like I love this font and I love the look of it, but if you wanted to change the font, you could do that as well. So tons of options with the printable labels and print and cut feature of the Cricut Explorer Air 2. And then you don't want to miss this exclusive Natalie Malin vinyl that's also available at Joann's for decorating all kinds of things, especially in the craft room. So thank y'all so much for joining me today. If you have any questions about this project, any questions about the Cricut Explorer Air 2 Wild Rose, then leave them in the comment section below. Be sure to give us a thumbs up if you like this. And also subscribe so you don't miss any of our Cricut videos. So we do Cricut videos all the time. And you don't want to miss any of the fun, because if you love projects like this, you're sure to enjoy every single one of the videos. So thank y'all so much for joining me today, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.